Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Orange Power Podcast. We are going to talk equestrian, something we haven't done in a little bit. So good to be back talking to a Big 12 champ yet again. We got plenty to get to, but let's welcome in Coach Larry Sanchez. And Coach, good to have you here on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me on.
So let's talk a little bit. Man, there's so many things, so many places we could go, right? I want to get into the season, want to get into that trophy. I just had this vision this last weekend of you grabbing the trophy and saying, hello, old friend, because it just keeps coming right back here to Stillwater. But let's start with where we are. We're in the hardware area, right?
Well, this is definitely a place that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
This is where we've got some of our most proud moments showcased, and it's one of my favorite places on the facility.
Yeah. And so it's the team room, right? So not just the hardware behind us, but an opportunity for your girls to come together and have a little space to be a team and be able to have a seat and do the things that you guys need to.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, the Nielsen family and the Vargo family were very generous and donated the money for us to be able to build this team building. So it's called the Nielsen Vargo Team Building. And it just gives us a place to meet with the girls, have our pregame meals, kind of get organized. When you have 50, it's hard to just find a space that'll fit us all. So we were fortunate enough to be able to build this building and do what we need to with the team.
And of course, we're just outside the arena, right? The covered arena, which you've had, what is that, 3 years old now?
It's 7 now, yeah.
No, it's not 7 years old.
Yeah, time flies.
It's time to renovate.
There we go. We need another one.
I cannot believe that thing is 7 years old. That's amazing. Just tells you how quickly time goes, which goes back to the thought that I probably should have started with. How long ago did you come here to start this program?
I got here in January of '99.
Wow.
So I'm in my 26th, 7th year,
Yeah,
26 year.
Silver anniversary plus.
Yes, and it's more than 25 for sure. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. Just same thing with you referring to the Atherton family arena out there. It does seem like it's only been 3 or 4 years, but when you actually go back, it's been 7.
Which is amazing. And again, when you think about just this program and the evolution of the program, is pretty amazing. But the sport, the evolution of the sport, which you have been a big part of and on the front side of trying to make it more viewer friendly, make it more sustainable for programs out there. I mean, it is pretty amazing when you think about when you came here to where we are right now, what this program, the look it has that's different, and the sport itself, how different it really is.
It has come a long way. And I think one of the biggest things that we tried to do was get the horse world moved over to collegiate athletics. Because they're two very different things, and it can be done, as we've proven it. There are sports in the equestrian world like reining, the National Reining Horse Association. They've really made it a fan-friendly, spectator, exciting event. And so that's what we've been trying to do with collegiate equestrian. I think we've got it down. When before, and facilities didn't allow us, but we used to sometimes go 7-8 hours on a competition day.
Yeah.
Just with the nature of bringing horses in, getting them warmed up, making sure they were ready. But now with the multiple arenas that we've been able to build, and most of the schools are set up similarly, we're down to 3 hours and 15 minutes start to finish. Auburn's got it to like 2:30, 2:45, but when we go to compete there, our girls' heads are spinning because it happened so fast. So we're working on what that perfect place is, but just like from 1999 till now, we've still got a lot of changes to go, even though we have made a lot in that amount of time.
Even the championship, right? The way it's scored, the format, creating the overall champion versus the two discipline, the two different sides. But I love the fact that when you drive into this place, the road to Ocala starts here. I mean, you even have the sign over the crossway going in. I mean, that's what this program has been about. It has been about championships, a lot of individual championships, and trying to build. You've got the team championship that since the format changed a few years ago, which, by the way, that's probably longer than I think, too. Has that been 10, 12 years that we've had the overall champion?
That was 2022, yeah.
But I mean the format changed.
Probably 10, 12 years ago.
So
I'd have to look it up.
I'm in the right ballpark there. So talk about what, again, from that perspective, just how much you guys have been a factor in being one of the final 8 and trying to win championships, because that's what this program is about?
Well, I think if you go back and you look at our records in the regular seasons over those years, sometimes they weren't so shiny.
Yeah.
We took our losses, but that's because I schedule hard.
Yeah.
I want my girls to go up against the top teams in the country so that they're prepared and ready and know what to expect when they get to the postseason. We might not go in with the number 1 ranking. We have before, but there are more years where we haven't gone in with the number 1 ranking because our record was what it was, but I felt like our girls were ready when the postseason got there because of that regular season schedule, the gauntlet, so to speak, that we went through.
Well, and this year is not any different, right? I mean, 7-5, maybe even closer to 500 than typical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys have had terrific records over the years, but 7-5 going into the Big 12 championship, knowing you're going to have to go through TCU most likely. That wasn't your first round opponent, and they had to get by Fresno State. But they had beaten you twice. What was the confidence level when you guys went to the Big 12 tournament with the record, knowing what was in front of you?
Well, when we went down to TCU, and for those who don't know, we're riding the TCU horses when we go down there, and they beat us 11-9. Mm-hmm. And 11-9 is one ride, basically. It's 10-10, and I did the math, and we would have won in the raw scores if we would have just had that one ride go our way. So the girls left there, even though we lost, they left with a lot of confidence that we were able to go down there on their horses and do really well. Then up here, it was the same thing. Yeah. We lost to them 11-9, and we made a couple of mistakes that were very fixable. But, it goes into that win or learn mentality, and the girls have embraced that. And so going into the championships, they knew on neutral horses with multiple judges like we have at the Big 12, we have 3, that it was going to be as fair a playing field as we would see until we get to nationals, of course, which is even more fair where we have 5 judges and drop the high and the low scores. But we knew going in that we had to not make mistakes and give it away because they're not going to hand it over to us. Mm-hmm. But they were ready and they were confident. I really am proud of the girls that they, again, peaked when they needed to.
And it's interesting, too, because there's that old adage, well, it's always hard to beat a team 3 times, right? Obviously, TCU was probably thinking that people – but let's step back a little bit and let's look at your most recent record against Baylor. Mm-hmm. I mean, goodness, that was a proud program that won championships. They had beaten us in championships. They knocked us out of postseason in the past. Always a great battle. Boy, for whatever reason, I mean, I guess we've got the better riders, right? And you guys have coached them up. You guys have owned Baylor, and that's a really impressive streak you're on with them.
Well, it is, and it's not something that we take for granted because Baylor's good. And I'll go out and say this: I was probably more stressed in the semifinal round against Baylor than I was in the championship round against TCU. We jumped out to an early lead on TCU in the championship round, which helped. I think that was the majority of it. But Baylor took us down to the wire to get to the championship. They, in my opinion, were peaking right now for the postseason, but with their regular season record and then losing in the semifinals or the first round of the Big 12s, they didn't get invited to nationals again. And I know their administration's probably thinking of what's going on. I know their coach is definitely thinking I need to be doing some things. So I'm just fortunate to be in the position I'm in right now, where my team is doing really well, and we've somehow figured out how to get them riding at their best for the postseason, and we're just going to keep doing that since it's working.
Well, and it's obviously been working for a lot of your riders, but Hogan ended up with Rider of the Year, Co-Rider of the Year, Fences and Flat, and and Flat and Fences, I guess, Co-Rider of the Year and Fences,
yes,
correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So what an incredible run that young lady's had. 11-3, I think, of both those disciplines all year long.
Riley, she was one of those that wasn't a stellar recruit. We found her in our camp. She rode in one of our camps and ended up, she deferred her first semester. She didn't come until spring because she was wanting to finish out her junior career and did really, really well in her junior career. But when she started in January, she came in, put her head down, did exactly what you should do, eventually got moved into the starting lineup and went undefeated in the postseason her freshman year. And then has just been dominant. She's broken school records as far as number of MOPs, number of wins. We have never had on the jumping seat side a rider of the year in both fences and flat. She was co-rider, like you said, in the fences, which the gal that she was shared that title with is really, really good as well. Riley, she's team captain. And the thing about it is if a coach could sit down and mold everything about what they think a team captain and top competitor on their roster would be, that's Riley. And I'm just blessed that we had the opportunity to work with her the last few years.
Yeah, I think what she ended up with 10 MOPs this year.
Yeah,
I
could have to look. I mean, there's a lot of numbers running through my head right now, but she dominated and could be up for more accolades. She could be in the running for Scholar Athlete of the Year for the Big 12 Conference.
Crazy stuff. And does that surprise anybody? No, because you have them all the time. Hey, I want to talk about real quickly, before we talk about the seeding and where you guys ended up, the selection process, right? The top 8. We get in our heads the NCAA tournament and a lot of sports, certainly in basketball, and you have your automatic qualifiers and you have your at-large. How is this decided?
There's a selection committee. And there's a lot of formulas, a lot of criteria that they factor in, home wins, away wins, because our sport, there's always a home field advantage in any sport.
Sure.
I hear that. Football, baseball, doesn't matter. There's always a home field advantage. But in our sport, we're riding their horses when we go on the road.
Right.
So it's factored in if you win on the road, and then by how much, and was it a ranked team, and just all those. And I'm not the formula guy.
Yeah.
So there are people who created those formulas that the selection committee looks at all year long. They're putting out the rankings, and then after the conference championships is when they have to sit down and do the final rankings. The reason why there's only 8 is because we have live equipment. We have to get horses down there, and we have to be able to mount these competitors up on horses, and 8 right now is the maximum. This is breaking news to everybody, probably you as well, that next year we voted to even drop our national championships down to 4.
Wow.
So next year, we're sitting number 3, so we would have made it in next year if we could spring forward. But it's going to be tough. There's a lot of things we're still working through, but we're going to do like a regional play to get to the championships.
Okay.
But just cost, it's so expensive to take 125 head of horses to Ocala, Florida. Rent the facility thanks to Marion County, which is where the facility is in Ocala, Florida. They give $30,000 to us to rent the facility. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that facility is incredible. The girls just, that if they've never been there before, drive in, and it looks like where you should be for a national championship.
Right, yeah.
But, it's that's a big thing. So the selection committee we're going to look at all this next year. Is that enough to make sure we got the right Final Four in there, which you think about college football playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Coming up with the right 4. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done with that. But I think the regional play is good to get that to that Final Four, and we just need to work out the kinks on that.
So no automatic qualifiers?
No automatic qualifiers, and we did talk about it a little bit, but really the SEC has such dominant programs, and the Big 12 has dominant programs, that if you made the SEC champion and then the Big 12 and then the ECAC, you might drop off in your quality a little bit. That probably the top teams are your Big 12 or your SEC teams, and so what do you do with that?
Yeah.
And so we would love it. If you have any ideas, throw them in the hat. we would love to talk about them.
Sure.
But for right now, we leave it up to that selection committee to do their best job of getting the top teams in there. This year, we're glad it's 8. We're number 3 ranked, and we go against number 6 ranked Texas A&M, which is a foe that we've had since I got here in '99. They've been one of our rival schools. So
FOE, not FAUX, right?
That's right.
they're a real foe. They have been great over the years. When they were in the Big 12, you guys had some great battles, and so you kind of jumped ahead a little bit. So number 3 taking on number 6 A&M, and let's just, April 17th. Give me a little bit of a preview of what that's going to look like.
Every round for every team is going to be tough.
Yeah.
You look at the brackets and who's going up against whom. South Carolina coming out of nowhere and winning the SEC championships, and nobody is a pushover. And it's making sure that we stay consistent and mistake-free. That's what's going to give us the best shot to move through the brackets and eventually get to another national championship. But our girls in a great place. we're so excited and looking forward to going and to that facility and that, in that atmosphere. It's just going to be a ton of fun.
As we wrap things up here, obviously, again, you've talked to me so many times about how great Ocala is. I mean, it's the Disney World of the equestrian world. But you guys will take horses there, right? I mean, everybody takes horses to compete. And, I mean, Ocala's not just across the county line, right? It's a little ways. How does that operation happen? How many head do you have to take?
Well, to Ocala, we've been taking 12, which is a semi-load.
Okay.
We do hire professional haulers to haul them there and back. They got air ride semi-trailers, bigger stalls that the horses are in while they're going down the road, fans above each one of them. We
in style.
we ship them in style, but it's almost a 24-hour trip from when they leave Stillwater to when they get there. And so it's a lot for them.
Yeah.
When Nationals was down in Waco, of course it's in our region. One year we took 26 head down there, so that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
In addition to making sure that your team is in the right place mentally. But we'll take 12 head down there. We have some that we've saved specifically for the national championships. They're really, really nice horses, and I believe that that's the place where they need to be showcased. So we've got some super four-legged athletes going from OSU, and we're hopefully our team will carry this Big 12 championship into that nationals.
When you go somewhere, you want to go early enough to get acclimated for the competition. How many days does a horse need in a new venue after a 24-hour trip before they're really ready to compete at the level they need to be at?
They'll leave on Sunday before the championships and get there on Monday. We fly out on Monday, and so we're there to greet them, bed the stalls, put water buckets in, and we watch them pretty closely that first 24, 48 hours. Wednesday is an evaluation day. So all the teams that have never seen our horses before, we have to show them what they're about, because we don't ride our own horses at the national championships.
Right.
We ride other schools. And so they want to see our horses, we want to see theirs. So we have an evaluation day on Wednesday. And then Thursday is the quarterfinal round, Friday semifinals, and then the championships is on Saturday.
Pretty amazing stuff. You've had Riders of the Year, amazing too. You've had Horses of the Year, right? I mean, that's a heck of an honor. It really. I mean, I know you take a lot of pride in that.
For me, if I was a recruit and a parent of a recruit, yes, you want to play for the team that's going to win or that has won, has the history of winning. But as a horseman, which is what I believe we're trying to recruit, is true horsemen, if they see not only are you competing as a team for the championships, but you also have Horses of the Year nominated by the other schools year after year, and if you have the same horses year after year winning it, that means that you're doing something right within your program as far as sustainability of those horses. We've got one that's going this year. He's 22, and he's been a 4-time reigning Horse of the Year.
Wow.
Really, reining horses don't go much into their early teens because it's such a demanding sport for them. But we've taken really good care of him, and he's such a phenomenal horse. This might be his last one. Boss is his name. But for us, hopefully the recruits are seeing that we are trying to be the best horsemen we could be and teach our team members to not only compete at the highest level, but to be better horsemen when they leave here than when they came in.
Amazing horses, amazing student athletes, and when I say student, I mean student academics. They're champions there all the time, and certainly in the arena as well. Coach, always appreciate the visit. Best of luck in Ocala, and let's go get another championship.
Thanks, Casey.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you guys tuning in. For Coach Larry Sanchez, I'm Casey Kendrick. We'll see you next time on the Orange Power Podcast.